The glittering lights of Hollywood, the crimson expanse of the red carpet, and the deafening roar of adoring fans gathered outside the world's most prestigious venues have long defined our collective perception of the entertainment industry. For decades, global audiences have tuned into these meticulously choreographed spectacles with a singular expectation: to witness the celebration of artistic excellence and to see who will ultimately be crowned the best of the best in their respective crafts. These grand ceremonies are carefully engineered to project an image of flawless glamour, absolute unity, and triumphant achievement. We watch as legendary actors, visionary directors, and chart-topping musicians accept their golden statuettes, offering tears of gratitude and standard expressions of appreciation to their studios, managers, and peers. This predictable narrative of success reinforces the magical illusion of the entertainment world, presenting it as an unassailable bastion of achievement where dreams are realized and hard work is universally rewarded. Year after year, the routine remains largely unchanged, creating a comforting rhythm that assures viewers of the industry's stable, harmonious nature. However, beneath this highly polished veneer of designer gowns, rehearsed smiles, and synchronized applause lies a dynamic and volatile landscape. The very stage designed to uphold the status quo occasionally transforms into an unpredictable arena of raw human emotion, systemic critique, and profound cultural confrontation. This broadcast marks the beginning of an expansive exploration into those rare, electrifying moments when the carefully written scripts were tossed aside and the world's biggest stars chose to shatter the illusion entirely. If you find yourself captivated by these hidden histories and the powerful forces that shape modern culture, please take a brief moment to subscribe to our channel and join our growing community as we journey deeper into the untold stories behind the glamour. To truly understand how these explosive disruptions occur, one must first appreciate the immense psychological and cultural pressure that builds within these rooms before the first award is even announced. An award ceremony is not merely a party. It is a high-stakes corporate and artistic crucible where careers are validated, legacies are secured, and billions of dollars in future revenue are decided. The air inside these grand auditoriums is thick with anxiety, competition, and unexpressed grievances. For months leading up to the main event, public relations campaigns manage every public statement, interview, and appearance of the nominees, ensuring that nothing disrupts the carefully curated image of the talent or the institutions supporting them. This intense suppression of authenticity creates a veritable pressure cooker environment. The celebrities themselves, while appearing detached and untouchable to the viewing public, are often grappling with deep-seated frustrations regarding the internal politics, perceived biases, and structural inequalities of the very industry that is honoring them. They walk onto the stage carrying not just their talent, but the collective weight of unresolved industry tensions, unspoken rivalries, and long-simmering disputes. When the live television cameras begin to roll, reaching tens of millions of households simultaneously across the planet, the barrier between controlled public relations and raw, unvarnished reality becomes dangerously thin. It is within this fragile threshold that standard acceptance speeches transform into historic declarations, turning a night of corporate celebration into a permanent cultural milestone that redefines the relationship between fame and social responsibility. The history of these televised disruptions reveals a fascinating evolution in how public figures perceive their own platform and influence. In the earlier decades of broadcast media, the relationship between a celebrity and their audience was strictly transactional, mediated by studios and networks that demanded absolute compliance with a wholesome, apolitical image. To deviate from the expected script was considered a career-ending risk, a betrayal of the unwritten contract between the entertainer and the paying public. Yet, as the cultural landscape shifted and the collective consciousness of society expanded, certain pioneering artists began to realize that the microphone handed to them at the podium possessed an unprecedented, almost terrifying level of power. They recognized that the global audience tuning in was a captive one, momentarily unified by the spectacle of the event. This realization gave birth to a new breed of artistic expression on the awards stage, one that viewed the ceremony not as an end in itself, but as a megaphone to amplify voices, challenge entrenched power structures, and demand accountability from an industry that traditionally preferred silence and conformity. These moments of defiance do not happen in a vacuum. They are the direct result of a profound internal conflict between the artist's personal conviction and the commercial demands of the Hollywood machine. As we prepare to examine the specific instances where this boundary was crossed, we begin to see a pattern of brave individuals who were willing to risk their reputations, their future employment, and their standing among their peers to speak a truth that could no longer be contained. Atmosphere and anticipation are everything in these live broadcasts, and the tension is often palpable long before a celebrity utters a single controversial word. The audience at home can sense when the energy in the room shifts, when a presenter departs from the teleprompter, or when a winner's voice carries an unexpected edge of defiance. These instances create an immediate electric shockwave that reverberates through the auditorium and out into the wider world, instantly rendering the surrounding glamour irrelevant. The elaborate sets, the symphonic walk-up music, and the glittering jewelry all fade into the background, leaving only a lone individual standing at a podium, challenging the very establishment that brought them there. This stark contrast between the superficial luxury of the event and the gravity of the statements made is what embeds these occurrences so deeply into our collective memory. They serve as a stark reminder that even within the most insulated and privileged echelons of society, the urgent complexities of human experience, inequality, and systemic frustration cannot be entirely shut out. The stage becomes a mirror, reflecting the broader anxieties and conflicts of the era back at an audience that expected mere escapism. As this narrative unfolds across our upcoming segments, we will dissect how these historic interventions manifested across different eras, analyzing the unique blend of personal courage, industry tension, and societal pressure that allowed them to happen, ultimately setting the stage for a dramatic rewriting of the entertainment industry's rules. The delicate barrier separating carefully managed public relations from spontaneous. Historic reality completely dissolved as the industry entered an era marked by unprecedented direct confrontations and deeply uncomfortable truths delivered straight to the faces of the Hollywood elite. Perhaps no single event in modern television history encapsulates this sudden shift quite like the explosive encounter that occurred during the live broadcast of the 2015 MTV Video Music Awards. The tension had been building for weeks in the media, but nobody in the star-studded auditorium or the millions watching at home could have predicted the raw, unscripted moment when hip-hop icon Nicki Minaj took to the stage to accept her award for Best Hip-Hop Video. After delivering her standard acknowledgments, Minaj abruptly turned her attention toward the evening's host, pop star Miley Cyrus, who had previously made critical comments about her in a major newspaper interview. With absolute seriousness and a piercing gaze, Minaj uttered the now infamous phrase demanding to know what was good, and direct challenge that instantly froze the room and sent shockwaves across social media. The sheer shock of the confrontation was amplified by the contrasting neon, high-energy atmosphere of the pop music celebration, revealing that behind the stylized choreography and manufactured personas lay genuine, deeply personal animosities that could not be suppressed by publicists or production schedules. This was not a performance, it was a real-time manifestation of interpersonal and cultural friction unfolding live on global television, forever altering the expectations of what could transpire at a music awards show as the years progressed. These moments of defiance evolved from personal grievances into sweeping, systemic takedowns of the entire entertainment apparatus delivered by individuals specifically hired to maintain the evening's festive atmosphere. The most striking example of this subversion occurred at the 2020 Golden Globe Awards, where British comedian Ricky Gervais took the podium as host for the fifth time. Instead of offering the usual self-congratulatory humor and gentle ribbing expected by the star-studded audience, Gervais unleashed a blistering, cynical monologue that dismantled the entire room, targeting the hypocrisy, privilege, and corporate entanglements of the industry's most powerful players. He openly mocked the stars for their superficial political stances, advising them that if they won an award, they should simply accept it, thank their agent and their God, and leave the stage because they were in no position to lecture the public about anything. The camera cuts throughout the room captured a fascinating spectrum of expressions, ranging from nervous, forced laughter to genuine, deep-seated discomfort as the realization sank in that the host was completely refusing to participate in the collective illusion of Hollywood's moral superiority. By systematically exposing the vast disconnect between the wealthy elite inside the ballroom and the everyday realities of the global audience, Gervais shattered the traditional framework of the celebrity roast, turning the ceremony into a highly public trial of the industry's collective conscience. This tradition of public disruption and uncomfortable truth-telling was firmly anchored in an infamous incident from more than a decade prior, which remains one of the most polarizing and heavily discussed minutes in the history of live television. At the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards, a young country pop singer named Taylor Swift was on stage delivering her acceptance speech for Best Female Video, a monumental milestone in her rapidly rising career. Suddenly, music mogul Kanye West walked onto the stage, took the microphone directly out of her hand, and declared to the stunned audience that while he was happy for her, another prominent artist had created one of the best videos of all time. The suddenness of the intrusion, the visible confusion of the young recipient, and the immediate chorus of boos that echoed through the auditorium created an unprecedented atmosphere of chaos. The event completely derailed the narrative of the evening, transforming a standard celebration of pop music into a massive cultural debate regarding etiquette, artistic respect, and the boundaries of public behavior. The incident left a permanent mark on the careers of everyone involved, serving as a stark reminder of how a single, unscripted act of impulsivity could permanently alter the trajectory of pop culture history and dominate global headlines for years to come, long before the era of modern pop music confrontations. The foundational blueprint for using an award ceremony as a powerful instrument of serious social and political protest was established during the 45th Academy Awards in 1973. When Marlon Brando was announced as the winner of the Best Actor award for his legendary performance in the film history Milestone, he was nowhere to be found in the auditorium. Instead, a young Native American activist and actress named Sachin Littlefeather walked down the aisle, ascended the steps, and stood before the microphone on behalf of the absent star. Refusing to accept the heavy golden statuette from the presenter, she pulled out a written statement and calmly explained to the global audience that Brando could not accept the award due to the film industry's poor treatment and stereotypical depiction of American Indians in motion pictures and television, as well as the ongoing contemporary standoff occurring at Wounded Knee. The reaction inside the Music Center was immediate and deeply divided, as a loud wave of jeers and boos competed with a chorus of supportive applause. Standing her ground with immense dignity, despite the open hostility in the room, Littlefeather delivered her concise message before exiting the stage under heavy security. This profound intervention demonstrated to the entire world that the immense platform of an awards broadcast could be effectively utilized to force urgent, real-world human rights crises directly into the living rooms of mainstream society, permanently breaking the unwritten rule that Hollywood's biggest night must remain entirely detached from the painful political struggles of the outside world. The momentum of structural critique continued to build in the modern era as artists began sing their victories to directly challenge the deep economic disparities and systemic biases that persisted behind the glamorous scenes of major film and television productions. At the 2015 Academy Awards, actress Patricia Arquette won the award for Best Supporting Actress and used her valuable time at the podium to deliver a passionate, uncompromising demand for wage equality and equal rights for women across the United States. Her powerful declaration resonated deeply within the room, prompting enthusiastic, standing ovations from prominent industry veterans who had spent decades navigating the quiet injustices of the Hollywood studio system. Later that same year, during the Primetime Emmy Awards, actress Viola Davis made history by becoming the first African-American woman to win the award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series. Her acceptance speech began with a profound quote about the barrier separating people of color from opportunity, and she went on to explain with striking clarity that the only thing separating women of color from anyone else was opportunity, asserting that you cannot win an Emmy for roles that simply are not there. Davis used her historic moment not just to celebrate her personal triumph, but to explicitly call out the lack of diverse storytelling and systemic limitations embedded within Hollywood's creative executive offices, turning her victory into a powerful, unassailable mandate for institutional change that echoed long after the credits rolled. The profound impact of these individual expressions of resistance lies in their ability to transform a personal victory into a universal declaration, shifting the focus away from individual achievement toward a broader collective awakening. This legacy of transformative victory was beautifully illustrated during the 74th Academy Awards in 2002, an evening that remains deeply etched into the collective memory of the entertainment world. When Halle Berry was announced as the winner for Best Actress, The atmosphere inside the theater instantly shifted from polite anticipation to overwhelming history-making emotion. As the first African-American woman to ever win the prestigious award in that premier category, Barry ascended the stage visibly overwhelmed by the immense historical weight of the moment. Her acceptance speech was not a standard list of corporate gratitudes. It was a raw, breathless, and devastatingly beautiful acknowledgement of the doors that had finally been forced open. She explicitly dedicated her victory to the pioneering women who had come before her, enduring decades of systemic exclusion and minimized opportunities. And to every nameless woman of color whose path might now be slightly clearer because of this breakthrough. The emotional intensity of her delivery, coupled with the profound cultural gravity of her win, reminded everyone watching that behind the superficial elegance of the golden statuettes lie real, deeply entrenched human struggles for representation, validation, and basic dignity. This tradition of shifting the spotlight away from the self to illuminate broader societal complexities was similarly mirrored a decade later at the 71st Golden Globe Awards in 2013. When legendary actress and director Jodie Foster took the stage to accept the prestigious Cecil B. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award, the audience expected a standard retrospective of a long and brilliant career. Instead, Foster delivered a deeply introspective, fiercely independent speech that both sort of came out to the public and simultaneously offered a searing critique of modern celebrity culture. Rather than providing the sensationalized, highly public confession that the tabloid media had demanded of her for decades, she fiercely defended her right to privacy, challenging the modern expectation that public figures must commodify their private lives for public consumption. She spoke eloquently about the unique psychological toll of growing up in the public eye and called out the invasive nature of a culture that values constant visibility over artistic and personal integrity. The speech left the star-studded room simultaneously baffled and deeply moved, forcing a room full of highly public individuals to reflect on the hidden costs of their own fame and the profound value of maintaining an authentic, uncommodified human existence away from the flashing cameras. The demand for structural accountability reached an entirely new level of operational specificity during the 90th Academy Awards in 2018, when acclaimed actress Frances McDormand took the podium to accept her award for Best Actress. After an energetic speech celebrating her fellow female nominees, whom she asked to stand up and be recognized in the room, McDormand concluded her time at the microphone with two powerful words that sent Hollywood executives rushing to their legal teams: inclusion rider. By introducing this specific, hitherto obscure legal term to a global audience of tens of millions, McDormand bypassed vague platitudes about diversity and instead handed artists a concrete contractual tool to demand baseline demographic representation both in front of and behind the camera. This moment demonstrated how a seasoned professional could use the immense platform of an awards broadcast not merely to express frustration, but to actively implement a systemic mechanism for institutional change, forever shifting the conversation from passive awareness to enforceable structural equity across the global film industry. These profound expressions of cultural resistance have never been confined to the medium of film and television acceptance speak. Indeed, the live musical performance has often served as an even more visceral and undeniable vehicle for social commentary. This was made undeniably clear during the 58th Annual Grammy Awards in 2016. When hip-hop visionary Kendrick Lamar delivered a blistering theatrical performance that completely dominated the evening's narrative. Walking onto the stage as part of a chain gang amidst a stylized prison set, Lamar utilized his primetime performance to deliver a powerful, uncompromising statement on mass incarceration, systemic racism, and the ongoing struggles of Black Americans. The sheer raw energy, the uncompromising lyricism, and the vivid, challenging imagery of the performance forced the comfortable, industry-heavy audience to confront the painful socio-political realities of modern society in a space traditionally reserved for polished, uncritical entertainment. It was a moment that could not be ignored, demonstrating that true art refuses to compartmentalize itself for the comfort of the establishment. Using the industry's own grandest stage to hold a mirror up to the nation's deepest fractures, the historical tapestry of award show disruptions is also defined by moments of pure, unadulterated artistic defiance against commercial conformity. As seen during the 1994 Cannes Film Festival, when visionary director Quentin Tarantino was awarded the prestigious Palme d'Or for his groundbreaking masterpiece, A member of the audience loudly shouted an insult from the balcony in protest of the film's unconventional narrative structure and intense violence. Rather than offering a polite diplomatic response, Tarantino smiled, raised his middle finger directly to the heckler, and used his speech to proudly declare a creative war on standard, safe mainstream filmmaking, solidifying his status as an uncompromising auteur who refused to bow to traditional institutional expectations. Conversely, these ceremonies can also provide moments of profound, quiet empathy that cut through the commercial noise of the industry. At the 62nd Academy Awards in 1990, Irish actress Brenda Fricker won the award for Best Supporting Actress and beautifully chose to dedicate her heavy golden statuette to all the lonely people in the world. In doing so, Fricker gently reminded the glitzy, self-absorbed crowd that the true purpose of storytelling is to provide comfort, connection, and visibility to those who exist on the absolute margins of society. Completely removed from the warmth of Hollywood's spotlight, the modern era of awards show disruptions reached a fitting and global culmination during the 77th Golden Globe Awards in 2020. When South Korean visionary director Bong Joon-ho accepted the award for Best Foreign Language Film for his cinematic masterpiece. Standing at the podium, Bong looked out at the room of industry power players and calmly delivered a brilliant critique that exposed the deep-seated cultural insularity of the Western entertainment establishment. He noted with striking clarity that once American audiences could overcome the mere one-inch-tall barrier of subtitles, they would be introduced to so many more incredible films. This concise, elegant statement